Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to V-Speed for tonight's race in the Apex E-Series Showdown. Brought to you by Apex Sim Racing Custom Gear. If you need a button box, if you need something for your sim rig, ApexSimRacing.com. Go over to Jimmy, see what he's got going on. But tonight we hit Gateway Worldwide Technology Raceway, St. Louis, Missouri. I mean, how many names do you need for a track that is so flat and is really hard to get around? Got my good buddy in the booth with me tonight, Shane White. Shane, how are we doing tonight?
Doing well, man. This place is going to definitely provide some entertainment tonight. You know, I ran 160 laps here in the car myself last night, so definitely a tough track, real flat. And like you said, I think this might take the cake as the most names for a racetrack.
For sure. Well, let's take a look at the schedule and kind of talk about where we've been, where we're going. We're seeing on that second column now. We've finished quite a few races, and we've got Nashville up next, Pocono, Lucas Oil, and Richmond until we start the playoffs. And so just 6 or 5 races to go before we head into the playoff and set that playoff field. So it's going to be a lot of fun, obviously, to crown another champion here in Apex. And tonight's just another one in the books. It's going to be, I would imagine, a good race. So luckily we found it. iRacing had an update, and we had the left front just sticking up in the air. I mean, it was barely even touching the ground. So they were scraping up track, got a new session. That's why we're starting a little bit late, but able to get that figured out. Take a look at your point standings here, and it should be no surprise. With 7 wins in the win column, Don Cofield has just dominated this season, and I mean, I think he scared everybody away. He's got a 137 point lead over Garrett Kinder. Now, once the playoff starts, all that gets reset outside of the playoff points, so it will kind of narrow in, and you know, Cofield not going to be able to take his foot off the gas once the playoffs start. But right now, he is just laying it on thick. As, man, my goodness, just unbelievable. We see a lot of folks that are in the point standings not here tonight, and so a lot of potential for movement. Take a look at Gateway. Well, Shane, you drove 160 laps here last night, so you tell me, what is Gateway like?
Yeah, obviously it's based in Madison, Illinois. It's got a 1.25 track length in miles. You know, the banking is 11 turns in turns 1 and 2. And 9 in turns 3 and 4 corners. It's, you know, it's real flat, real slick. You saw these guys earlier. Once they got all 4 tires on the ground, they were very loose in practice. I think I have to worry about that even for the guys up front. You know, getting loose on exit, things like that. From what I learned last night, you know, it's tough racing around other trucks, just because, you know, on the backstretch you've got that, you know, indent that kind of comes out. So make sure you don't get forced up into that, but definitely a wild track. You know, you got an access road on a pit road, so there's definitely a lot going on here that you're not used to throughout the season. Man, it's so weird. I mean, it's like Darlington, but way worse. It's flat. You see the track layout. It's got long straightaways and got one turn of 1 and 2 that's real tight, and then 3 and 4 that's super long and sweeping. And a 1.25 mile track and a 2.01 km track. It is a goofy track, but we like those because hey, it's good to kind of throw these guys for a loop, and they've always running 1.5 milers and tracks like that, so it's good to kind of throw them for a loop every once in a while and see how they do. But we're getting ready for the grid. It is already started, so let's jump right into it. It's not going to take long. As we get into the Low Cash Motorsports started grid, we got to give out the Chuck Pegleg Pole Award, and that's going to go to Josh Lokavitz, throwing a lap time up there, kicking everybody's butt. The only one in a 3. He's going to start first in that number 79 machine with Matt Rogers outside of the front row. In third is going to be Charles Stevens, and outside of him is going to be Aaron Adcock. In fifth is going to be Chuck Pegleg Phelps with Anthony Edgerton in sixth. In 7th, Jonathan Cofield with Alan Nash in 8th. And in 9th is Alan Smith and Garrett Kinder in 10th. And I think Shane White's going to take the rest of the top 20. Yeah, we're going to have Brandon Wallace rolling off 11th. And that'll be, you know, the end of the field tonight.
That'll do it. So there you have it. That's the Low Cash Motorsports starting grid, and they're already rolling here as we've got 100 laps here tonight. We'll take a look at the track analysis, the race analysis 100 laps, 45-mile-an-hour pit road speed, 4 tire sets available, 2 green, white, checkered, 75% fuel load, and fixed setup, of course, with that stage right at lap 30. So tonight, interesting. Everybody except for one driver will get playoff points here tonight. So good night for points if you're trying to improve your position in the standings. We'll see who is going to be the lone. I think we're going to interview the guy that does not. We're going to interview the guy that does not get points. I think that's what we're going to do here tonight. As something is wrong with ATVO. Good deal. Well, we're getting ready to get this thing going green. I can't click on Josh Lokovitz. This thing is all goofed up. We're getting ready to go green. 100 laps here in Apex, and green flag is out.
See Cofield's to the point here down into one with Garrett Kinder on the outside. You know, this track reminds me a lot of North Wilkesboro, where we saw that crazy battle between Cofield and Kinder there. You see Kinder's going to really get the run. That middle lane is exactly where you want to be. So he's going to be in good shape out here. It's hard to pass here, and he's going to be taking a lead here on lap 1.
Well, I think the grid's all. I said the grid, and it's all jacked up because everybody's in the wrong space. So my ATVO right now is showing Matt Rogers out front. So we're gonna watch this first lap battle. Then we're gonna have to reset ATVO because something is majorly wrong. As there's about a wreck back there between Alan Smith and Brandon Wallace. As Cofield gets a run, gonna look down to the inside, but backs out of it to try to get a better run off the corner. And the 27's gonna get loose.
Yeah, like we talked about during practice, you know, this place is real slick, so it looks like he's going to be able to gather it up there down in the grass, get those tires cleaned off, and get back at it. But Cofield knows that longer that this run goes on, the harder it's going to be to pass here. It's really easy just to sit in front of somebody like a rolling roadblock. So you can see he's already back down to the inside of Garrett Kinder here. You really want to take a very, right in the middle kind of line down into 1 and 2. So you see he's going to have to go all the way down to the bottom, which isn't really where you want to be. But definitely making it work down there. Close race, a little bit of contact there, maybe real close here off 2.
Yeah, and the high line seems really good for as Anthony Anderson gets a little super loose off the corner. And, we saw this last night, Shane, where people were shifting down into 1 and 2 because of how tight the corner is. You could probably get away with 4th gear here in this, H-pattern 4-gear box in the trucks. And I think we'll see some guys shifting down into 1 and 2 just because it's so tight. You bog down the motor so much trying to slow down, get it down to the bottom, that you do a little bit of shifting, and if you're not careful, it'll surprise you how those RPMs will slide up real quick, and you'll get out of shape. And boy, it catches up to you quick.
Yeah, we had a guy last night. He accidentally went down 1 too many gears down into 2nd, completely spun himself out going into 1. So definitely got to be careful when you are downshifting that you don't go down too many gears. But you could definitely, get away with going down maybe 1 gear in these trucks, just kind of, rev the RPMs up and have a better chance of making the corner. So one of the toughest tracks on the schedule for sure. Like you said at the top of the show, kind of reminds you of Darlington. So you see Cofield's really starting to get his grasp of that middle line there. He's going to try to build his run back up to Kinder, but right now it's all Garrett Kinder.
Yeah, and we see even more folks getting loose off of turn 2. That turn 2 has been a treacherous part of the track so far. So I think that's going to continue to be a problem area as we continue through this race. 100 laps is actually really, really long here at Gateway. These lap times are in the 34, 35 second lap range. And it only gets worse from there. So these laps are good. This race is going to take quite a while.
Yeah, see Cofield gets a little bit loose right there. He's definitely using up, what he can here without completely destroying his tires. Definitely wants to get around Kinder early on here. And I know Cofield and I'm pretty close with the guy. Doesn't matter if he has 7 wins or 75 wins. He's definitely wanting to add on another one of that. So as it gets closer and closer to the playoffs here this year, you're going to see him start to ramp up. He's going to start to get a little bit more energetic as we go later into the year. And these guys are definitely going to be wanting to get all those wins together. But definitely trying to figure out the lines here. See Kinder moves up a line right there, trying to see how the higher line feels. But this is a tough track. A lot of different lines you can run. The backstretch isn't exactly straight, so definitely a lot of adjustments you got to make.
Yeah, it seems like it's a definite mix of patience but aggression at the same time. It's a very the corners are so slow. You have to really slow down, and it's hard to get the runs that you need through the corners. Like right here, you're having to slow down so much that he's shifting down to third, and he has to kind of lean on that throttle a little bit. But the way the radius of the corners is, you really can't carry the throttle. You can't get back into it like you would at maybe a Charlotte or a 1.5 miler. You really have to kind of baby that throttle until you get back on the straightaways. And he's going to get a nice run here through the middle of the corner. But, yeah, that outside line is going to be a little bit too strong, huh?
Well, you look, we got a stage break at lap 30 here, so these guys know that they're not going to have to, make a super long run tonight like they would in the second half of this race where it could be upwards of, 65, 70 laps. So Cofield does know that if he does burn his stuff up, he only has to really deal with it for about 20 more laps here before they get that stage break. So this first quarter of the race really is definitely what you want to use to kind of test everything out. Everybody's trying to figure out the corner, and, we talked about it. These guys don't have as much practice because of that, session thing with the iRacing update. So, this is going to be a lot of these guys' practice times here. So I wouldn't be surprised after we get to stage break to see the field start shuffling around a little bit and see some guys change positions.
Watching Jonathan Cofield continue to kind of ride behind Garrett Kinder, and that's been something that's it's been the case all season long. And Cofield has just been able to really just, he could do just about whatever he wants to here in this series, and he's always on the attack. He's always the aggressor, and right now it's really no different. So Garrett's going to try to hold him off as long as he can, but I mean, you can definitely see Cofield's got the speed to get around him. Now, as the run goes on, that outside line going to be so much stronger. I think Garrett's going to be in pretty good shape to try to defend that. It's going to be really tough for Cofield. So I think if you're Kinder, you know you're not going to get away, so you just try to manage those tires, make sure that you have enough to when he goes down to the inside, you're able to defend it and hold on to that spot. But always the opportunity for somebody to kind of jump up here if these guys make contact and something happens. Charles Stevens back here in third, he's got an opportunity. But man, look at Garrett Kinder going to get wild off of turn 4, and that opens the door for Cofield, and that might be all she wrote right there.
Yeah, see, Cofield's going to clear him here, but earlier on in the race, that really reminded me of North Wilkesboro. We saw that Cofield, was just sitting behind Kinder waiting for a mistake. Definitely got his mistake a lot earlier in this race than he did at North Wilkesboro, but absolutely. I mean, Kinder's extremely fast, Cofield's extremely fast, so these two, have been the class of the field for the majority of the season, and that's why, they're 1-2 in points. But, now it's time for Kinder to battle back here and get used to running behind somebody, because he's been in clean air pretty much the entire race.
Yeah, it's always good, too, to get behind somebody like Cofield whenever, Cofield's been able to watch and analyze what Garrett's been doing the whole race. And now that he gets in front of him, now Garrett can kind of watch and see the breaking points where Cofield is getting back on the throttle and try to maybe adjust what he's doing and try to make up that gap. But right now, Cofield's starting to gap it out to about a half a second. So, it's good maybe to be able to watch other people. I think that's a part of racecraft that people don't talk about too much, is the ability to adapt during a race. You can run 1,000 laps of practice, go into the race room, and somebody go to the top of the board. You watch your lap and go, oh, crap, I did 1,000 laps completely the wrong way. So I've got to really redo everything that I've learned. And so when you get into a race, if you're able to adapt and change, throughout the race, and I think that's, a really great part of racecraft that Garrett can try to employ here, especially as we get to the stage.
Absolutely. As we go further on this run, you're seeing, these guys are just getting, looser and looser as the run goes on. Going on the backstretch there, we saw Kinder get a little bit sideways, saw the flame shoot out of the side of the truck, which means he's having to lift off of the throttle, which in turn is killing his momentum. So definitely going to have to try to battle back here once we get to the stage. You can see he's trying different lines. We saw him earlier on in the race. See, he's getting extremely loose off the corner there. Way to hold on to it. But earlier in the race, we saw him, he was going way up into the corner. Now he's, kind of in the middle. He's been on the bottom. So I feel like he's just using this first stage here. He knows he's not in a huge points crush right now. So he's basically just trying to figure everything out here.
Let's take a look at our driver cams since we have a little bit of everybody's starting to get a little spaced out here. We got Chuck Phelps there, Charles Stevens, Josh Lokovitz, and Aaron Adcock. I think I gave the Chuck Peg Leg Pole Award to Lokovitz. I'm not really sure who it was. I think it might have been Cofield. So I think Cofield should be the Chuck Peg Leg Pole Award winner. But I think it's because we had. I think what the problem was. I went from one session to another and didn't reopen ATVO. So I think I figured out what the issue was. But we got it going again. So Cofield, he was the Pole Award winner. But yeah, there's your cams right there. Appreciate those guys bringing those out here tonight. And we'll kind of go through the field a little bit, try to find some battles as the leaders starting to spread out. As Brandon Wallace dropped the spot from where he started. Chuck Phelps moving up. One driver back here, Alan Smith, who was really fast in practice and adapted early once they started this session. You can see he is really struggling with the handling. And, these guys are shifting in, it looks like maybe in both corners. Let's watch on board with Alan. You can see he's got that steering wheel all the way over. And if you know anything about oval race, you do not want that to be turning that steering wheel as much as he is. So those tires really hurting in that number 3 truck.
Yeah, like we talked about earlier on, these guys didn't have much practice on this new set. They probably had about 10 or 15 minutes. So this first stage is really going to be their main practice session here. Now, that, like we said earlier, that they have all 4 tires on the ground again. But see, Brandon Wallace is knocking on the back door again, trying to get back to the inside there. So definitely some battles as we get further on back into the field. We always talk about it. The middle portion of the field is probably the most exciting, just because of how much is always going on back here. There's a dogfight for every position, and then once you get to this part of the field, every position is another stage point.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, right now, Tony Edgerton is about 3.5 seconds behind this little group here. But he will be fighting for that stage point. He's in this moment, he is currently out. So Brandon Wallace gets to the inside of Matt Rogers, and you can see how difficult it is to make a pass. Everybody trying to be respectful and nice to each other, and Matt kind of gets up out of the groove, and Brandon was able to get that inside track. And Matt could have maybe looked down to the inside, but I think Brandon has got that number 99 truck rolling here in the back half of this run.
Yeah, and we talked about last night, or we talked about earlier in the race, how last night I'd ran so many laps, and we really, last night, obviously it was Cup cars a little bit different, but we were really starting to experience tire wear around this portion. 20 to 25 is really when you started to feel the tire wear. So I feel like that's probably what's going on here. It's why you see these guys getting looser and looser, and you can see some guys are starting to really, fire off on all cylinders. So, this is a good gauge for some of the guys. Okay, I'm better at saving tires than this guy. So once we get into a really long run later in the race, permitting we stay as green, they know that they're going to be way better on the long run than some of the guys that they're racing against right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that go into tire saving, and it's not only it sometimes steering ratio has something to do with it. Sometimes the pedals that you're using have something to do with it, but a lot of times it's the nut between the wheel and the seat that has a lot to do with it. You just got to let off that pedal. Don't push on it so hard. But with this current model, the way things work, once you slide the rear tires one time, it takes quite a few laps to get that grip back, get the temp back in it. And the number 3 has been sliding it literally every single lap, and he has come off a turn two the last 4 or 5 laps, dang near sideways. So he is he's making it work. He's getting up to the rear bumper of Matt Rogers, but we'll see. He's going to look down to the inside. This is where it gets really rough, trying to make that work. Let's see if he can hold on to it. They take it nice and easy. Wow, what a cordial way of passing somebody. They were super nice to each other there. Maybe why they're teammates.
Yeah, and as you get further into the run, it gets harder and harder to pass because your truck gets, more and more out of control. So as we saw, these guys are getting super loose off the corner. But it's hard enough to pass somebody on new tires when your truck is pretty much under you. But as you get further onto this run, the truck gets more and more sideways. It wants to step out more and more when you shift down. And so you see these guys, he goes into the corner and shifts down, and it automatically wants to step out. And, he's having to correct the truck in the middle of the corner. Which is not something that you see at most of the other tracks. Maybe, New Hampshire, Darlington, stuff like that comes to mind. But definitely hard to pass as you get longer into the run. You see these guys are starting to space out more and more because of that.
Yeah, shifting harder to do in these trucks versus, say, like the next gen. The next gen with a sequential shifter, it's really made to do that. The trucks, not so much. A lot of these guys don't use H patterns with a clutch. They they might use auto clutch with an auto blip where it blips the throttle during the shift changes. So I think Garrett Kender might have gotten loose or just decided to let Charles Stevens go. So a change of position here for second place is we'll take a look and see what happened there. And gosh, there's not much action going on. We better take a look. And oh my goodness, and it was not him letting him go. Here's what happened. A dire moment for the 13. Watch this.
Wow.
Woo! Yes, sir.
Yeah, his rear tires are not happy, and I'm sure that he's probably the most excited for this stage here. But as you see, he's fighting back for that position back. You know, he's been very quick all night. He's gonna dive down to the inside of Charles Stevens here. You see Charles lets up pretty early, but he's not going away without a fight. He's loose once again.
Yeah, that was a good move from Charles Stevens. He knew it was coming. He knew Garrett was going to sling her in there, and he's going to he lifts early, lets him go, and it kind of makes me think of that move that we saw SVG do at COTA, where he did that little crossover where somebody was getting the run down the inside into turn one and backs off and then slings it down into the corner. Really awesome to see that from SVG, and then Ross Chastain tried it the next day. So these guys doing a little bit of okey doke trying to make passes. Looks like Garrett going to be able to hold on to that second position for now as we get a little bit closer to this stage break. Right now, this is the battle on the track for second place. As Charles has been able to run him down, saved a little bit better tire. So I think he might be in a pretty good position here.
Yeah, Charles has he has a really good run going tonight. You haven't really seen him slide it too much, which I don't want to jinx him, but you haven't really seen him slide it too much tonight. As you can see right now, he's still trying to build that run, and as we saw right there, Garrett Kender is still sideways off the corner. So Garrett is using everything that his truck will get him. He knows he's only got about 3 more until the stage, so might as well, if you're going to buy the tires and not use them again, you might as well use all of them up, right?
Absolutely. I got to say, Charles Stevens, man, for somebody, this fella really works hard at trying to get better at what he does. And there's a lot of guys who I think, whine and complain, go, oh, I'm not as fast, I can't figure this out, and they just kind of sulk and whatever. Not Charles Stevens. Charles Stevens, I've seen his progression over the last couple of years, and he has gotten so much better. And he puts in the work, man. He puts in the time. He gets on track. He does what he can. He works with people that are better than him and learns from them. And, a couple years ago, you're not seeing this right here where Charles Stevens running somebody down at the end of a tire run. He was always the guy burning them up at the beginning of trying too hard, driving it too deep into the corner, causing, having wrecks and getting taken out early. But you're seeing the maturity of Charles Stevens. I mean, he's now running over in Sunoco, and he had a great finish in the Coke 600 over there. So I got to commend the 84 guy here, and it may just be the paint scheme. I don't know. What do you think, Shane?
I think the SWM logos might have something to do with it, but it's like he's right on his door exiting here, coming to the stage end. But as you can see, Garrett is struggling even down the front stretch, so those rear tires are really taking a beating. And it's just not going well for him right now. So he'll be really excited to get a new set of tires on there. But it looks like Charles is going to clear him here as we come towards the closure of the stage. But like you said, I'm teammates with Charles on Sunday, so I get to see firsthand all the work he does every week as we see the stage caution finally comes out. But I will say he's definitely one of the most hardworking guys I've ever been able to work with. He practices a ton during the week.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to see that. That's probably my favorite thing in iRacing is you see Jonathan Cofield take the stage. The caution's been out, but he might as well just say he crossed the line there. But it's so good to see people who put in the work and they actually get better because they get in the right mindset. It's tough, man. It's tough when you come in and you're missing that one little thing or two little things. You just have to practice. And this is a sim. It's a sim. It's not really a game. You don't jump in. There's not a whole lot of arcadey physics as we're seeing. Pit road going to get a little wild here. It's going to get pretty busy, but it takes some time. You got to learn. If you're going to get better, you got to get that seat time. I think there's obviously a talent portion of it that's involved, but you can definitely improve over the years. And I talk about a fellow that I watched race in a league when I first started iRacing, and he was horrible. He was terrible. He could not get it figured out. And then a couple years ago, I saw he was running in the Coke Series. So it can definitely be done. Look at them stairs. Watch out. These guys are really close to those dang metal steps there on the front stretch by the start-finish line as they almost make contact. But everybody pulling into their box here. 4 tires and fuel, obviously going to be the call. I can't imagine you take any kind of chances here. We might see some 2-tire calls at the end of the run, but I don't know, Shane. The tires seem to be way too important here.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The tires are very important as we see that, Cofield's obviously going to get first off pit road. But what we did see there is Kinder had a slow stop. So I don't know if maybe he had some sort of, penalty or some damage or something like that he wanted to get fixed. But definitely going to lose, 6 or 7 spots here on pit road.
Well, that'll be fun to watch him come back up to the field. So I'm excited about that. He's definitely going to be one to watch once this thing gets rolling. But yeah, this track, I think, left side seems to have a lot to do when the banking is lower. Is a lot lower than maybe a 1.5 miler. But you're on the throttle, especially in 3 and 4. You're on the throttle so long that you're having to carry that speed through the middle of the corner. And it seems like, and Shane, you can tell me if I'm right or wrong, it seems like that left sides really play a big factor in the speed through the middle of the corner.
Yeah, I mean, last night, when we would come down and pit, the left sides and the right sides would be pretty much even as far as tire wear goes. Sometimes your left sides would actually be worse as far as tire wear. So definitely not something that's common. Most of the time, if you're going to take 2, you take rights, and your rights are going to be what's worn off more than anything. But definitely last night it was more of even tire wear. So 2 tires made a little bit less sense because they were so even. But you could definitely still see it. I mean, track position is very important. But we talked about at the top of the show. Some things that were different about this track. We did forget to include the metal stairs that are in the middle of pit road. That's definitely something that's not used, that these guys are not used to seeing at their tracks.
Yeah, and even this little parking area, if you need to go pee or something, there on the backstretch, there's a little pull-off area that you can go run off into the woods and take a leak. But yeah, a lot of objects and stuff that can jump out and get you here. I would love to see somebody come out, not turn a practice lap and not for the first time on this track and try to come down pit road. They would likely try to exit or go right here and then where that pace truck is pulling in, and it would be a really bad day for them. But getting ready to go green here after stage number 1. Cofield's going to lead us down to the green flag, and he is going to have control of the restart and gets a fantastic one as we get this race back green.
Yeah, Cofield's off with the lead. Here's Charles Stevens dives in behind him in P2. Charles, I'm sure that he's learned a lot over that first run. As you see the 27 of Nash here right in behind him with the 79 of Lokenvitz rounding out your top 4 there. But we talked about it on pit road. Garrett Kinder, he's got to move up and take these positions early on. He's already up to P6. I'm sure he'll be moving up, much more than that. But definitely some storylines here to follow. As you saw, Garrett Kinder lost about 6 or 7 spots on pit road. So as he's really loose off of the exit there, he's definitely using everything he's got down the inside of the 99 of Brandon Wallace.
Yeah, get a nice little run down the straightaway. Going to get to the inside and try to clear the 99, get up into the top 5. And Garrett, he is not one to be very patient. Even though we have 65 laps to go, he's going to be pushing it to get back up to the front. So I think for him, the big ticket is to figure out a way to try to save those tires a little bit, be patient, know that you can get back up there, but not be in a position where you burn those tires up. And right now he's got to chase down Alan Nash and Josh Lokovitz running here in the 3rd position. He's trying to keep up with Charles Stevens.
Yeah, we talked about, early on how we only had 11 drivers here tonight. Well, the plus side of that is you get to see a lot of these guys that we don't normally see up here in the top 3 and the top 5 and stuff like that. They get up here and they're able to, really get a good run because a bad qualifying run or a bad couple of laps doesn't hurt you as bad because you don't have as many trucks to pass. So, Josh Loganvitz, I feel like he's probably trying to learn from Charles here and kind of, because it's the first time he's been right behind him, see exactly what Charles is doing, maybe what he can improve on. But, him and Charles are really good friends off the track, so I'm sure that Charles is, relaying some info here as far as what he's doing and what maybe that Josh can improve on to get both of them back up there towards Cofield.
Yeah, and Lokovitz has been the same way. We've seen nothing but improvement as Tony Edgerton is going through the grass. Another save as we avoid a caution. As, turn 2 has been a nightmare for these guys. But great save there by Tony. As man, look at this battle. Is now Lokovitz looking down to the inside of Charles Stevens, and Lokovitz has been in another one of those drivers, man, that's slowly been finding his way up towards the front every single week, everywhere he races. He's got bursts of speed. If he can complete the race, get the full race without making any mistakes and losing spots, he is definitely going to start winning some races soon. So right now, though, he's got his hands full with Alan Nash. Made one little mistake in two, and look how it opened it up. And Garrett Kinder might make it 3 wide before we're done with this corner.
Yeah, Garrett Kinder, it looked like he was looking 3 wide there, then got a little bit loose, but Garrett Kinder's going to have a good run going down in here to 1, so Lokovitz is really just going to have to reset here. But what turn 2 reminds me of? It reminds me of last week with the NASCAR Xfinity Series at Portland, how SVG drifted the entire track after the race. It's exactly what they all look like when they're coming off the 2.
They really do. And to me, if I drift one time, I'm changing what I'm doing, and I'm going to make sure next time I come through there that I don't do it again. But there seems like some people are like, I don't give a crap. I'm going to go and get loose every single turn. And that seems to be working for some folks. Garrett Kinder, though, putting some laps down. He really put some pressure there. Got a little bit of that apron, lost some momentum, but he is on the move at the moment.
And these guys up here, they know that Garrett Kinder was already in, leading the race and in second. So these guys up here know that Garrett's fast, but he just got, mired back with some pit road trouble. So once he gets up to him, they know he's quick. So that just gives them, all the more motivation to stay out in front of him. As we see, he's coming up here on the 27 of Nash. But we talked about it earlier, the 3 of Smith, talked about it before the race, how quick he was during practice. Didn't have a great qualifying run, but it definitely looks a little bit more stable than he did early on in the race. Not as completely sideways as he was. So as he looks to try to make a move here on Chuck Phelps.
Yeah, it seems like he's learning a little bit and starting to apply what he's figured out. Matt Rogers right behind him was taking an onboard look here with Chuck Phelps, and you can see he's actually using an H pattern. Chuck is one of those guys, he likes to simulate what's like in real life. A lot of us take shortcuts. I use paddle shifters in a truck and most NASCAR stock cars that we have on the surface. And Chuck's like, oh, they're going to make contact, teammates. Alan Smith, Matt Rogers, contact as they spin out. And you can see a little sticker on Chuck's face as they spun out. Oh, my goodness, a little bit of contact here. Back in the back, obviously not on purpose, but we'll go back and take a look here on the Kinder Farm and Ranch Wreckage Rewind. And going to be right here, right as it happened. Yeah, Alan just comes back down the track at the worst spot where Matt has got to come up because that truck is pushing him towards the outside wall. They make contact. So first natural caution of the night here on lap 43.
Yeah, you can see, the three of Smith back there. He really just got super loose going into the corner. You can kind of see he was, really stepped out. Maybe he was lifting a little early. The 96 almost made contact. You can see the 3 truck kind of steps out right there a little bit. I think he just chases it down the track into the 96.
Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right.
Some tracks, the 96 might not have went around, but with how unstable everything is here and how, loose these trucks are as it is, just the, smallest amount of contact is going to send them both around. So it'll be interesting. These guys have plenty of sets for tonight, so it'll be interesting to see, who comes down pit road and decides, all right, well, we've got about, 10 or 15 laps on these tires. Let's go ahead and take us a set here and see how it works out. But you can see it kind of looks like he's driving a road course. He's turning right pretty much the whole corner.
Yeah, you can hear it right here. You can hear those rear tires just spinning. So yeah, he was completely loose, and you're absolutely right. Good analysis there. I really didn't even see that the first time. So first caution though, nobody else. Looks like we got a few drivers coming down pit road. Garrett Kinder going to be one of them. I like this call if I'm Garrett Kinder. I can't believe the front 3 stayed out, if I'm honest. I don't think they can make it the rest of the way on fuel, for sure, but I like this call. Get 4 tires, get back out there. This likelihood of us having a long green flag run is pretty high. So if I'm Garrett Kinder, get up to about 3rd place after driving through the field. Now I can get fresh tires. There's one thing that Cofield can't beat, and that is, a lot fresher tires. I mean, eventually you're going to be able to get around him. So, if you're going to beat Cofield tonight, it looks like it's going to have to be done with strategy.
Yeah, you know, and we talked about it already. You know, Garrett has already come from the back of the field once, so what does it matter to do it again, right? He's actually going to be probably in better position now than he was when he came out of pit road, mired
Yeah.
back in the field. So a lot of these guys up front, you know, all of them really up front haven't had to come from the back. So Garrett has already been back there, already knows he can do it, and now with the tire advantage he's going to have, it's going to be even easier for him. So I think the important thing here is just to make sure that when you're coming through the field, you know, you try to still save your tires as best as you can. That way, when you do get up there towards the front, you're not, you know, completely sideways like we saw a lot of these guys were at the end of the first stage.
Well, I'll tell you what, if I had to give Garrett Kinder a nickname, it is Garrett the Show Kinder because he is always going to give you the goods. And tonight's no different, man. He is going to, he's going to have fresh tires. He's going to start in 7th. And he's got a couple guys in front of him who elected to just take fuel only. So 13 lap older tires, 1st through 4th. Then you got no tires, just some extra fuel in 5th and 6th. And Garrett Kinder, the first driver, on 4 tires. And that, I think that, I mean, 13 laps is quite a while. I mean, we talked about how long these laps are. Even though it's a 1 1/4 mile, still talking about 35 seconds of load and heat that goes in your tires. And it's going to make a difference. Just how much is the question, and how hard is it for him to get to the field? That's the other question. So I think he's got everything he needs right now to get back up to the front. But Cofield has, once he got out front, has never looked back. He's going to have control of this restart here with just a little over 55 laps to go. Pace truck going to pull off in the no-no zone and leads them down to the green flag. Jonathan Cofield needs to get a good jump here. Charles Stevens needs to try to match him and get close to him. But Cofield, power down. Green flag is back out.
Yeah, you saw Cofield go a little bit later in the zone there that he had before. Probably caught Charles a little bit off guard, just making him wait that long. So definitely, you know, good job by Cofield. We see Charles Stevens sends it down into turn 1 to try to get around him, but going to wash up the track here. And you see a lot of these guys, you know, once again drifting off the corner. So definitely still loose, very loose. I think, you know, on the fresher tires or the newer tires, it's even worse. See the 27 sends it down to the inside here, the 84. Saw the 27 was, you know, pretty quick early on, and, you know, maybe I'm just a little bit partial to that number, but the 27's rolling.
Alan Nash is a very fast driver. I don't, you know, he reminds me of Ray Rogers in a lot of ways. Ray Rogers is a very unassuming fella. He's not very loud. He doesn't talk in Discord. Man, look at the 17. Aaron Adcock on those 4 tires. He ain't wasting no time as he goes right through the middle of those 2 and is going to take over 2nd spot. He's like, hey, y'all ain't said a damn thing about me tonight. I'm going to make sure y'all get me on the damn screen. I'm going to go right through the middle. Man, what a move. We got to go back and watch that again. We cannot wait a few minutes. We got to go back and watch it again. That was pretty incredible. Watch this on board with Aaron Adcock. He's just going to say, hey, thank you very much, and see y'all later.
Yeah, that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call a 2-for-1 special.
It's a twofer.
Here at Worldwide Technology, something. But yeah, we saw there on his camera, you know, he's smiling a little bit. He knows what he did. He's proud of it. So definitely having a good run here. Now he's got to run down, you know, just a 7-time winner, Jonathan Cofield.
Yeah, no easy task, although he is a couple tenths faster. Those tires definitely making a difference. And you know, you see Garrett Kinder back there. He is following in the 17's footsteps. But, I mean, that move to make it 3 wide, you know, you think, wow, that's really aggressive. Why would you do that? Some folks do. I don't. I think, hey, you know how hard it is to pass. And Cofield is so damn good here that any advantage you can get, you need to take it, and take it early and often. And he got 2 trucks in 1 turn, and that's going to be less time that he has to fiddle with trying to run down Cofield. So you can see the difference of those 4 tires. We wondered, and it is definitely apparent. As the 17, got to be careful. You got the. Why is it so hard? Why does it always happen like that, Shane? When you have the advantage, you know you've got what you need to get it done, and you just push too hard, you get excited. Is that what it is? You're just like, oh, I'm so excited.
I think, you know, there's a little bit of contact here out of the corner, but I think a big part of it for him is, you know, he's looking in his rear view, and he knows Garrett Kinder is also on fresh tires. So really, that's who he's racing. You know, he feels like he's going to get around Cofield. I would assume he would. But, you know, he's got Kinder right on his back bumper. So the quicker that you can get up to Cofield and get around him, as he's right there on his rear bumper. So the closer you can get up there and the quicker you can get around him, the less of a chance Kinder's going to have. As you see, Kinder is closing in on him every single lap he sits behind the 58.
Well, Cofield is a great driver, and there's a lot of things that you have to appreciate is Aaron Adcock going to drive down, knows that he can't do it. What I was going to allude to is that Cofield, as Garrett Kendrick gets loose off of 2, giving that little extra throttle he didn't need. Cofield, you got to give him a lot of credit. He knows how to race, and it's so hard to explain some of this stuff. But Cofield in that situation was just daring Adcock to do something, and Cofield was kind of backing up the entry of the corner and then rolling really slow in the middle. We call it like backing up the corner, and he's just daring, kind of holding up Aaron, trying to keep him from getting the run through the middle, and it's really impressive to see him try to employ that tactic, and Aaron says, you know what, never mind, I'm going to go around the outside. As Brandon Wallace gets loose, and he is parts and pieces coming off that 99 machine as he gets loose off of turn 2. And I thought he was going to go to the P spot. Oh, my God!
Yeah, he's definitely got a steering issue there. Yeah.
Good grief.
Definitely got a steering issue there with the truck not wanting to turn at all, but might have missed his call on. Got a little bit of Wallace landscaping going on here tonight, but yeah, definitely going to be a long night for him if they're able to even get that fixed.
Well, so far he's hit the inside wall that sticks out on the backstretch, the outside little pull-off spot. Now he's got to hit the stairs. He's got to hit those metal stairs. He's going to pit before that, so hopefully once he gets his fast speed, he'll go up there and hit them. That's what he needs to do. Garrett Kinder was able to get around Jonathan Cofield, and honestly, going back to the race now, Cofield is still going to be okay. They still have to make a pit stop. The tires are going to equalize eventually. You don't know how hard these guys have been running, so Cofield just needs to take it easy. Don't push his truck very hard. You know, these two are going to get up here and try to run each other down. And then if he can equalize, then get back on equal tires once they come down to make their pit stop, then Cofield will be back on the attack and try to get himself back up front. But it's got to be tough for Cofield watching these guys sort of just drive away when you know how fast that 58 truck is.
Yeah, I was on the opposite strategy of Cofield last night. Trying to, we had new tires, knew we could make it to the end, so I was, hoping there was not a caution, and of course, like it always does here at Gateway, caution came out. So if I was Cofield, like you said, you just want to kind of sit here and be patient. Don't burn your stuff up. We already saw, one guy early on in the run here spin and nail the inside wall. So things like that keep happening. There's only, a matter of time before we do see the caution flag for him. So I'm sure right now he's, probably hoping for a caution that'll get him back on an even playing field and get him back up right near him. But Garrett Kinder, his idea here is, let's get up here to the 17 truck. We saw the 17 take him 3 wide and shoot on around him. So Garrett saw that, and he's definitely trying to get back up there and get the lead. That way, if anything does happen, he's already the leader.
Yeah, it's so hard to pace yourself if you're Cofield to not try to keep up with these guys with your tires being, at such a disadvantage. That's the hardest thing to do is watch even guys during like a green flag pit cycle where they come by on those fresh tires and you did the undercut on them. It's so hard to kind of pace yourself and say, hey, look, I got to let them go, because you know that if you push too hard, all you're going to do is ruin your race. And so right here, these two have to make sure they don't get too racy and make contact with each other and just allow Cofield to come up here and just retake the lead. That there's a certain amount of working togetherness we got to do here to make sure that, hey, we take advantage of this. We don't take each other out.
Yeah, working together and any track besides the super speedways typically don't go too well together. So we've definitely tried to do it before, in other racing on my team, and, it never seems to pan out how we want it to. So, they can work together and, and try to make the long run work. But at the end of the day, Garrett still wants to get around him. And as we've seen, he's caught him pretty quickly. So, you kind of see the 17 is real loose, and he is going to fall way behind Kinder there. It's like he got up a little bit too high and it snapped loose on him.
There was. Garrett Kinder going to take the lead. Aaron Adcock going to drop back just a little bit, going to lose a good amount of time back to Cofield. Still has the tire advantage, but that's what you can't do. You got to use this advantage to the fullest, and you can't give Cofield. And it sounds like I'm against Cofield. I'm not. He's got 7 wins though. So if you think back in 1998 when Jeff Gordon had 13 wins, if you think people weren't strategizing and trying to figure out ways to make sure he didn't win another race, you'd be a fool. And I think here tonight, it's the same thing. I mean, Cofield has been just lights out all season long. So if you're not trying to figure out ways to make sure he doesn't win as a competitor, what are you doing? He is obviously the man to beat every single week. So don't beat yourself, Aaron.
Yeah, that spin that Aaron had right there, that's pretty substantial. He was completely sideways. So, normally in the trucks, Cup car, Xfinity, it doesn't really matter what car you're in. It takes about 2 to 3, maybe even a little bit longer at these shorter places to really get the tires cooled down again. I mean, you got to be real easy, and you got to make them cycle back to being cooler again. So right now he's definitely struggling with those tires until he can get them back down to a decent temperature. Then maybe he can try to build up a run. As you see, that Charles Stevens is knocking on the back door of the 27 at Alan Nash.
Yeah, they've been close to each other for quite a while, and Charles is starting to kind of move back in. I don't know if I finished saying what I was going to say about Alan Nash before there was something going on, but Alan is a lot like Ray Rogers, where he's just unassuming, and he'll be there at the end. Ray will start in the back of the dang field, and you won't hear talk about him the whole race, and then with 5 laps to go, he'll be sitting there third. So Alan Nash, very similar. He's very, very fast. But right now, trying to hold off a hard-charging number 84, Charles Stevens. And right now, Charles has been working on him for a while. We'll kind of go on board with Charles, see where maybe he's a little bit better, where Alan is maybe a little bit better as they come off of 4 here. It's such a tough corner to get the power down as they go right across the start-finish line. We still got a long way to go in this race.
Yeah, there's not a lot of tracks that we go to anymore that you really focus on throttle control and being real easy. Well, this is one of them. Is right there, you get the throttle on too early, you're going to be completely sideways and your tires are going to be really hurting. So this is one of the few tracks left, this and New Hampshire, that you really got to rely on throttle control. As you see, he's on and off the throttle, very easy on, very easy off. You can see right now he's trying to explore every avenue possible to get around the 27. You see he's kind of looking down to the inside. With the hard braking and stuff like that in the corner, you got to make sure that you don't run into the back end of the guy as well going in the corner.
Yeah, and you could see the difficulty of trying to find a way to get a run, because if you hit the guy in the middle of the corner, that kills your run and you're not able to do it anymore. You're not able to do as it looks like Alan Nash is going to come down pit road. So pit stop's already happening here. Is he going to take a left, come down to the access road? Woo, got really close to that grass. And I'll tell you, Shane, if you drop those right sides off, you're going for a ride.
Yeah, the ideal speed around that access road is about 70 to 75 miles an hour is what we learned last night. But this is one of those tracks, one of those few tracks that has an access road as well, and a pair of stairs on the pit road. But see, he's going to take the long way around the stairs this time, make sure he doesn't hit them. But yeah, it's one of the few tracks that has an access road. You got to be real careful because you want to keep up your speed because you don't want to lose time, but you also want to make sure that you don't get off into the grass because then you're just going to slide all the way back up on the track.
Yeah, there's no wall to save you. You're just going to go, whoop, just keep sliding and either spin out or mainly just embarrass yourself. Aaron has been able to kind of creep back into the picture with the 13, but man, don't look now. Cofield is equalized on tires. So these guys up front have been able to take advantage of those 4 tires, but as we get ready for pit stop sometime soon, Cofield is in a pretty good spot. He did exactly what he needed to do. He keep these guys in his sights. He's still just 1.5 seconds back and holding steady. Ran the same exact lap time that Garrett Kinder ran last lap. We'll see as they cross the line here. Aaron Nycock, the fastest truck out of the 3. Cofield second fastest. So Garrett Kinder starting to fade here later as they get into lap 20. May have pushed those tires a little bit too hard, but Aaron trying to run him back down now.
Yeah, you can see right there in the corner, it seems like Aaron's much better in 1 and 2. I mean, you saw him close almost 2/10 going into the corner. Same thing in this one. So definitely, you can see that Kinder's way further up than Aaron is here. I really like the line that Aaron is running. Is basically just staying on the bottom here. But he's still got a long way to go on tires. For these guys that took him at the pit stop. So really, right now Aaron just needs to be trying to explore every avenue possible and explore every different line and see what makes him up time, what doesn't get him as loose as maybe some other lines, and really just use this area of the race as a learning experience.
Yeah, it seems like it's really difficult with this setup. Maybe some changes that happened with iRacing. They did kind of revamp the truck aero. So, you know, I am interested to know how bad dirty air is with this new setup. So we'll probably ask these guys at the end of the race if they felt like it was any different. But you know, it's cool to see iRacing change that up. So we were wondering, you know, if maybe Aaron needs to search around, try to find put some air on the front of that truck as he gets closer. It might be affecting the handling of that 17, but you see both of them get extremely loose here, and Jonathan Cofield licking his chops.
Yeah, we talked about, you know, how the tires were gonna equalize over a run here. Cofield, hopefully, you know, for him, he's been back there saving pretty well. So it looks like Cofield can kind of go wherever he really wants to right now. As you see, he's closing in even more on the 17 truck of Aaron Adcock here. It just seems like Cofield's really been, you know, sitting back there being easy on his tires. You saw Aaron, you know, blow by him 20 laps ago, and you look in your rear view for Aaron, and there's a 58 again. Just can't seem to shake him.
58 going to get a nice run here, and you see almost got loose, but did a little lift there to keep that 58, keep those rears under. We're going to get a nice run down the back straightaway. We'll see if he can clear him here. Aaron probably going to fight hard. I don't think you want to just give it to him. Going to fight hard on the outside, try to hold on to that. He can keep the power down off the exit of the corner, but Cofield just getting such a good. Here comes Alan Nash on fresh tires, thinking about trying to make it 3 wide. He has come down and made his stop, so he's a lap down. He's trying to get up here and unlap himself. Aaron does a great job there, holding on to it. Going to slide the truck through the middle. I like that. As here comes the 27 to sort of break up the party, and Cofield going to have to fall back to 3rd place. So pretty good little battle here. It looks like Cofield not going to surrender and come down pit road.
Yeah, I like the urgency out of the 27. Oh, he's in the grass.
He's in the grass.
That's what we talked about earlier. You got to be careful on that access road. Does a good job of getting it back onto the access road there. Seems like, you know, just trying to keep up a little bit too much speed there. Gets off into the grass, and once you're in the grass, you don't hardly have any steering. You see the 84 Charles Stevens comes in, you know, right behind him, but I do like the urgency out of the 27 there of Alan Nash, because the quicker you can get up there and unlap yourself, if you do get a caution, you know, you're not going to be trapped a lap down. So I definitely like that out of the 27.
Well, now what does Garrett Kinder do? Looks like he's going to come on down pit road. I like this call for sure. I don't want to let Cofield get in front of me at all. He's going to get those fresher tires. He's going to get out there, run faster lap times. So Garrett can see what was happening and said, you know what, I'm coming straight down pit road. Aaron Adcock going to be in the lead. He's going to take over the top spot. And expect to see him coming down pit road anytime soon.
Yeah, we're talking about the 58 going off in the grass there. That's probably going to cost him, you know, about a second or so, maybe even more. It doesn't seem like a lot, just, you know, a second and a half. But when you talk about how far these guys are apart from each other, Cofield was only about a second and a half behind the leader. So, you know, just shows you how much, you know, that little amount of time can really matter.
Yeah, it looks like Alan Nash, Josh Lokovitz came in about 7 or 8 laps ago. So they have been able to undercut, Jonathan Cofield and get a nice little gap here. Cofield going to have the fresher tires here. Charles Stevens going to be, he actually had he was pretty far back, so he's about 5, almost 6 seconds behind Cofield. But you can see Cofield is the leader. Aaron Adcock going to come down pit road now, give up the lead. See if he can stay out of the grass. Oh, he really pushed it there. And that's a bad feeling, because everybody knows iRacing grass is it's like ice, and if you ever get out there on it, it's just like the car just disconnects and you start flying. You actually generate lift, I think, and you start flying away.
Yeah, it's definitely like driving on ice for sure. You have no steering, no traction, no nothing. You're really just out of luck. But I do really like this call out of the 75 of Chuck Phelps as well as 77 of Edgerton. You know, staying out and running it long. You know, if you're outside of the top 7, top 8, you know, further back in the field, what do you have to lose, right? Stay out. You know, you get a caution, and before you know it, you're going to be cycling back to the front. If nothing else, you're going to have the freshest of tires in the field. So definitely like that call out of the 75 of Chuck Phelps, who, guess what? Chuck Phelps, new leader.
Out front by about 6 seconds, Alan Smith blows by him on the inside on those fresh tires. And as far as the battle for the lead, Garrett Kinder will assume the lead once everything is said and done. And man, I'll tell you what, I wonder if that slide off into the grass didn't really put like you said, yeah, bad news bears for Jonathan Cofield as he's almost 4 seconds back from Garrett Kinder at the moment. So Garrett's going to have a nice little gap here to manage. He's just got to be careful to not give it away, burn those tires up, get so loose and get sideways, lose a bunch of time, because Cofield is going to chip away at it. He's done it all race long. So Kinder's going to have to really be smart how he runs this last run here. But Chuck doing a good job. We'll see when he decides to come down pit road. Been on track for about 32 laps now.
Yeah, and it really sucks when you have a an issue like that where you go off into the grass, because there's a lot of issues you're gonna have. You see 75 Chuck Phelps looks like he's gonna bring it down pit road this time. Definitely something to watch here. Let's see if he can keep it onto the pit road access road. Yeah,
Chuck,
you're gonna take the conservative inside line there. Make sure he's all good.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Chuck, much more conservative than most. And he prides himself on making very little mistakes, and that was definitely a conservative drive.
Yeah, you see Kinder, he's going to get closer and closer back to the lead here. Edgerton's going to circle around to the lead here, but Kinder's gaining about 3/4 tenths a second, or 3/4 tenths a lap on the 77 here, so should be making a pass for the lead here in no time. To see the 77 is all out of whack there, drifting down the whole straightaway.
Very close call right in front of the leaders. Now, I don't know if everything is right, but I showed Garrett Kinder, Alan Nash ran a 35.8 last time, and Jonathan Cofield a 35.1. So Cofield is really burning them down, trying to get back up towards the front. He feels like he's running out of time, but you just don't know what these guys up here, are they saving enough? Are they trying to just keep the tires? What are they doing here? Because I mean, Cofield is coming like a bat out of hell. I mean, he was a whole down straightaway back, and now he's just about a second away from Alan Nash.
Yeah, this reminds me a lot of Darlington. Cofield was 8 seconds out in the lead or something like that at Darlington, then he got wrecked, and we saw there for a long time he was gaining almost 2 seconds a lap, and it was insane. And then obviously his tires got back to him, but it kind of feels like the same thing here, is where we see he's gaining a ton. So only about 21 laps left in the race, just about 10 laps shorter than what our first stage was. So he has a good feeling of what the tires are going to feel like. So it could be something where he's planned, I can run this amount of laps this hard before they really start to burn out. So definitely gaining time here. As you see, now he's only 1.1 seconds, 1.1 second off of the leader here. So it'll be interesting to see how much closer he gets over the long run.
Well, we did a lot of talking, and I forgot to even look at this, and now we're going to have the answer of why this is happening. Garrett Kinder takes 2 tires on that final stop. I am blown away by that decision. I can't believe it. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure what the thought process there is. You see Alan Nash under fire from Jonathan Cofield. Now Alan's going to have about 7 laps older tires, so that makes sense why Cofield's much faster. But Garrett Kinder, he's 0.8 of a second off of Cofield's pace with those 2 tires, and 20 laps to go. That is a long time. So I don't know. I'm curious about that strategy. I feel like that's a I'm actually surprised by Garrett Kinder. We're gonna have to talk to him about this, because I feel like that was a losing strategy, and I'm just interested to know what his decision was here, because I mean, just in a few, maybe half a lap, Cofield's gonna be there and taking the lead from him. So I'm not real sure about that call, Shane.
Yeah, the only thing that I can think of, maybe why he wanted to take 2 instead of 4 would be because, to stay in front of those guys like Nash and those guys that did the undercut. But, as you see, Aaron Adcock was on a similar strategy, ran a little bit longer. He's back in, 5th, making a pass for 4th. But definitely interesting, because, typically that'd be a strategy you see out of guys that, didn't have the track position, but he had all of the track positions. So definitely an interesting strategy. Definitely have to ask him about it after the race. Is to see, I'm sure that if you asked him now versus after the race, he would have a different idea on the strategy he'd play. As you see, the 58 of Jonathan Cofield is knocking on the back door here.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he felt like he didn't have the speed that he needed to try to, beat him heads up, as it was going to be pretty close when they come off a pit stop. And he didn't know that Cofield was going to have that kind of blunder. Going, kind of dropping his rights into the grass. Is about pass for the lead here. Cofield probably going to be able to get it pretty much uncontested, but I think maybe he thought he could get out front And I'm not really sure. I feel like maybe this is a Hail Mary, like you said. It just, hey, we got to do something different because I may not be able to beat him straight up. I don't know. He's
Yeah, we
fighting
talked about
hard.
how Yeah, we talked about how close we're getting towards the end of the play or towards the end of the regular season. You know, both of these guys, you see Johnny Cofield looks like he's going to clear him here, and then it's going to be smooth sailing for Cofield here. Um, now's a good time if you're in a good points position, know you're going to make playoffs. Take some risks, see what's going to work, see what's not going to work. That way, once you get to the playoffs, you're not just guesstimating. You got an actual race situation that you can go back and look at, but. With 2 tires, he's going to be struggling heavy towards the end of this race here. I mean, they were loose on 4, so they're going to be way looser on 2, especially because those left sides wear pretty much evenly.
Well, the universe aligns again. Jonathan Cofield takes the lead. He's got just a little bit over 15 laps to go in this race, and he is going to have 8 wins on the season. Just an incredible season. None that we've ever seen at Apex. Pretty wild to have that many wins, and it looks like he's going to be pretty much uncontested here at the end. I don't see anybody able to keep up. Alan Nash, Cofield right now is the only driver in the 35 bracket still, so even Aaron Adcock, who has about 3 lap fresher tires, not going to be able to keep pace with this 58 truck. Once he gets out front, it is all she wrote.
Yeah, once you get out front, you got a clear track, you can really go back to qualifying and focus on just running your lines, just maybe not as hard, but still run those lines, be real easy, save all the tire you can. He looks up, so he's only got about 15 laps to go. So just be real easy, save all the tires you can here. And you don't really have to worry about, entering the corner behind somebody, nobody in front of you. So just settle in here and run your laps and be, hope there's no cautions. So that's really all he's got to worry about.
Yeah, interesting race here so far. I mean, the top 3 running where they started. All 3 of these drivers started first, second, and third. Then Aaron Adcock has been able to gain a couple spots from where he started and got that strategy now. He might have a chance to get up here as he ran a 35.9 last lap. So he's still putting down some pretty quick lap times. He's got about a 2-second gap back to Alan Nash, so we might be talking to Aaron Adcock by the end of this thing. 13 laps here is a long way, so he has been able to gain a couple spots from where he started. Charles Stevens has dropped 1, Lokovitz up 2. Pretty much everybody kind of running where they started this race. So right now, I think Aaron Adcock's got the best opportunity to make up a couple spots. Last time by, he was 0.7 of a second faster. This time by, 0.5 of a second faster than his teammate in 3rd place. So Aaron got those fresh tires, stayed out a little bit longer, and now he's got what he needs. He can be on the attack.
Yeah, I feel like he's got a decent shot. He's probably hoping he had maybe 10 extra laps, 10, 15 extra laps just to kind of solidify it. But I feel like he's definitely got a decent shot at it, just because, he's got the 4 tires, fresher tires than the 27. So I feel like he's definitely got a chance. It's just going to be a matter of laps here as to whether or not he's going to be able to get up there to him.
Yeah, 10 lap fresher tires, then his teammate out in front of him.
I will say though, once you get down into this corner and you get 89 laps into this race, it's a workout. I mean, we did 160 last night. I was exhausted after that race, maybe more so than I was after the 600 last Sunday. It's a tough track, a lot of wheeling it, a lot of braking, onto the brakes, onto the throttle, off the throttle. It's a workout here. Even if you're only doing 100 laps, definitely a lot going on.
Yeah, I was saying at the beginning of the race, the laps here they're a little misleading. Like you think of this track as sort of a smaller track, at least it feels that way. And I don't know. I always think of Gateway similar to the way that I don't know. I really don't know what I would compare it to, but I don't think of it as a longer track, but it really is. I mean, these lap times are excruciatingly long, and if you go through 3 and 4, it feels like you're driving for days in that corner, and it just takes a lot out of you. I agree. I think it's a exhausting track to race at. And the 2 corners, Darlington, while Darlington is a little bit more fun because you got a little bit more speed, you're kind of I don't know. I feel like at Darlington you have to be in a flow state to win there. Kind of the same, similar to Dover, where you are you're just locked in. You have to be locked in to be good there. But here you don't really get locked in like that. You're just constantly having to remember, hey, I'm in turn 1 and 2, I'm in 3 and 4, I'm gonna attack them differently, but I'm going so slow that it's just you're just trying to keep that right foot from kicking your butt. And we've seen a couple drivers it kind of bit them. But yeah, just so slow around here. You're just crawling around these corners.
Yeah, with how wide these corners are, most of the drivers, you get down in there, you see how wide these corners are. I'd probably compare it to more like New Hampshire than anything else. You get down the corner, you see how wide it is. It kind of tricks you, right? You think you should be able to put the throttle down a lot earlier than you actually can, just because of how wide these corners are. Then you put the throttle down, all of a sudden you're completely sideways. So we see that Aaron's getting closer and closer to Alan Nash, but as he gets closer, the laps are ticking down. So definitely gonna be close. I just I don't know. He doesn't have that many laps to go.
Yeah, it's starting to equalize a little bit, and actually Charles Stevens has been faster than him the last couple laps, so Charles Stevens may get up here and actually battle with him. So I think Aaron has really put the pressure. Oh, no, he's almost makes contact with the wall there, as I think he really put his foot down and try to get up to these guys, and that truck may be starting to fade here with just 7 laps to go. But out front it is still Cofield. Cofield now out to a 4.2 second lead over Garrett Kinder, and I mean nobody in sight other than Alan Smith, who's trying to stay on the lead lap. And you see Garrett Kinder come off the corner there as Alan Nash gets loose. I don't think anybody's got anything for this 58. I think your battle in the race is going to be from the 27 to the 17 to 84 here, as we've got just a few laps left in this thing.
Yeah, it's definitely tough here because, you see that guy in front of you, you can see how close he is. You feel like you should be able to go up there and get him. But like we talked about earlier, these corners are so slow. It just feels like you're taking forever to get around the corner. But in all reality, the guy in front of you is doing the same thing. It just, makes it real tough to get up to him just because of how slow these corners really are. You can see he's trying his best, real loose off of that corner right there. He's definitely giving it everything he's got, but if he gives it too much, 84 is going to be right on him.
Yeah, punishing. You can see if you try to push it at all, it just punishes you. And that's what's happening right now. I mean, both these drivers got extremely loose as they're trying to push a little bit harder, push that throttle and exit just a little bit more to try to get that extra little bit of run down the straightaway. And it's gonna make you pay every single time. And these drivers are laying it out on the line as, man, Charles Stevens has now gotten to the back bumper of the 17 truck.
Yeah, you see how much wheel input he's putting in there. He wants to make sure this thing gets turned, but you see how tense he looks as he's right there on the 17. He's going to make a move going down here into 3. 17 slipped up a little bit on exit. He's right there on him, almost contact going down in the corner. They are door to door right there, both of them sliding up the track. 84 is going to clear him. Let's see if the 17 can come down and make a run.
Yeah, I think the 17 was trying to get that thing to stick as he's going to get loose off the corner down to the inside wall. But yeah, I think the 17 was going to drive it deep into the corner, try to make that outside stick as he held Charles Stevens down low on entry. And when he did, a 4-wheel freaking slide as that 17 truck, the tires were like, nope. And just he scooted up out of the groove as Charles Stevens give a little wave to the camera. Now he's got...
You can see Charles when he got around in there, he took a huge deep breath right there. I'm sure that was definitely something when he saw the 17 get loose and, they almost made contact. So definitely took a big sigh of relief there that he got around him. But he's getting even closer and closer to 27. So if I was him, you got a good gap out back, give it all she's got.
Just 3 laps to go in this race, and you can see, man, the truck is just, it's just not agreeable. It's just not responding what he wants to do. He's trying to get up there, and you saw there it just could never get the power down. He's just having to baby that throttle and trying so close. He's within 4/10 of Alan Nash, and he has got just a couple laps to go to get it done. And he get around there and get to 3rd place. He's going to drive it deep into the corner, but push up in the middle. This is where he's really had trouble getting the power down. You can see he's putting a lot of counter steer, but I think he did a great job through 1 and 2 there. He may have a shot at Alan Nash.
Yeah, part of the battle is getting up to him, another part is getting around him. So he's really going to have about 1 lap here as he drives it real deep in there, almost to the back bumper of him, right on him there as we come to 1 to go this time. But he's going to be right on his back bumper. See the 58? He's as calm and cool and collected. He ain't got nothing to worry about with 1 to go here.
Just half a lap to race win number 8 for Jonathan Cofield. Just an incredible run. He comes through 3 and 4. Jonathan Cofield going to come off a turn 4, and he is going to win 8 races, his 8th win of the season here at Gateway. Cross the start-finish line, checkered flag for Jonathan Cofield. And Kinder is going to come home in 2nd, and Charles Stevens Jr. tried all that he could, but he is going to come home in 4th, right behind Alan Nash, who will take over the 3rd spot. But all eyes on the winner here, Jonathan Cofield, winner here at Gateway. 58 laps led for the 58 truck. How about that?
I think he did it on purpose. What do you think?
I think he did.
He told Garrett, go ahead and pass it, man. I need to hit this 58 mark.
Well, he's going to burn it down on the front stretch, and we're going to talk to him as soon as we possibly can and get these interviews. Cofield Supply and Service, number 58 machine, going to put those rookie stripes in victory lane for the 8th time here tonight. And I mean, just he came into the points. He came in to this race 137 points in front of 2nd place, and he's only going to extend it here tonight. Just an incredible race, and as for some reason the points come up on the screen. I don't know. I don't think I did that, but get that off the screen. Well, let's talk to some of these drivers. We're not going to waste any time. Get them up in here and see what they thought about this thing. I don't know where Cofield is. Waiting on Cofield to get into the Discord. Let's see who we got. We got Alan Nash. Let's talk to Garrett Kinder. We'll talk to him first. Oh, no, there's Cofield right there. Well, Jonathan Cofield, this is Eddie and Shane in the booth, and man, 8 wins on the season, and you're able to get it done, and you didn't have, I mean, it wasn't easy. It was easy at the end, but it wasn't easy throughout the middle part of that race as you stayed out on tires and those new tires went around you. Tell me, how difficult is it to watch those guys drive away from you and not panic and push that truck a little too hard?
Yeah, you got to stay patient. I think 4 or 5 of us stayed out right there, and they took tires. I was like, they're going to eat us up. But I saved a good bit of tire the whole race. Seemed like everybody. I noticed, they say the truck's got a whole lot more straightaway speed, and I believe it because I was having to back the corners up. I couldn't back. Shit, I'm all confused. I couldn't drive in as deep as I used to at this track. I was having to back way off. It kind of pushes and ain't in the track like the next gen, but it's kind of loose like the Gen 4. It's kind of odd. I really didn't enjoy it. I really hope they made the 1.5 mile package better.
Well, we were talking a little bit about some of the changes and stuff, and, we'd love to get your input on the dirty air and just how that you feel like, did that affect you much at all when you got back in dirty air? Did you feel any difference, or did it feel about the same?
Yeah, it felt about the same in dirty air. And even when they had the newer tires, they passed me and kind of got away, but, after they flattened out a little bit and started burning their stuff up, I kind of stayed within a second and a half of them, so that part wasn't bad. But yeah, I haven't got on and practiced this the new style of the truck. This was actually my first hour practice session and an hour race with it, so I could see for a little bit of improvement. I didn't enjoy that. I've never had to tiptoe around the racetrack so much as we had to do.
Well, Tiptoe, you did, and we said Shane said you probably did it on purpose, but you led 58 laps here for the 58 truck.
Hey, hey.
Yeah, how about that? And for your eighth win of the season, you came into this race with a massive points lead, and you're continuing to build those stage points. You're going to have a really nice first round, but the points do get reset. So got a few more races, just 4 more races for the playoffs. I know playoffs, there's really no point in thinking about it right now. You're solidly in there, but in the past, um, how hard is it to dominate the regular season, but also keep the focus in on what you got to do in the playoffs to get this championship? Because these days it's not so easy. You go out there and you win. You win. You win 8 races, maybe more, and you could still come away empty-handed at the end of the season, which is wild to think about, but it is possible. So how do you lock in on those last few races and make sure you get the big prize before this thing's over with?
Yeah, well, it's usually my luck in a championship. There ain't no telling what's gonna happen, but just gotta stay out of trouble. Stay focused. Make try to make little mistakes. Looking forward to the rest of the season. I mean, all these guys in here are fast. I mean, I can remember 4 years ago when I started. Garrett Kinder. I, I've had a hard time keeping up with him, but all these guys in here are good. They ain't no telling what could happen. You get in those championship rounds, and you have a little mistake. A lap car puts you in a wall or something like that. It can ruin it for you. So playoffs are really hard.
Yeah, well, you're smooth sailing right now. Eighth win of the season. Congratulations, man. Who you got to thank here tonight?
Yeah, I want to thank you and Shane for coming in and doing the broadcast. V Speed. Can't wait to go back and watch that. SM Racing Products. If you're looking for a button box, go check those guys out. Put in Bandits One at checkout and save yourself a little money. I want to thank Aaron for this league and all these guys. I've been racing with all these guys so long. Bunch of clean racing in here. Bunch of good guys. A lot of friends that I've made over the last 3 or 4 years. Cofield Asphalt Refinishing, Cofield Supply and Service, and Aaron told me to take next week off, so I might see y'all, I might not. I don't know.
All right, well, there you have it. Jonathan Cofield, your winner here tonight, and I think Shane caught up with Garrett Kinder.
Garrett, this is Eddie and Shane up in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, Shane, what's up?
So we saw you took 2 tires there at the end, and Cofield took 4, was able to get around you there at the end. Cofield talked a lot about walking around, kind of tiptoeing around the track tonight with how loose it was. So just kind of walk us through your night, that late race strategy, and just how the truck overall felt tonight.
Pretty much as soon as Aaron and I and some of the other guys, we did that pit under that yellow that was, after 13 laps after the competition caution. I'd kind of decided at that point that I was gonna try and I wanted to get to 75, but I think I got to 70, and I wanted the 2 tire stop it. I was kind of thinking that Cofield and everybody else was gonna run it a little bit different and maybe run it a little bit shorter, but they didn't. Thought I'd pull a little bit more of a gap, but I didn't. So, man, it was a lot of strategy coming into play. 2 tires probably was not the move. I don't know if I ever had traction on the left rear after I got those 2 tires. So, it was a lot more touchy after that 2 tire stop. A lot of fun. Yeah, Cofield's exactly right. It needed to be a really touchy track. Really had to baby it around, which I'm not great at. I like hanging it out, like keeping the revs up. And if you do that here, you're gonna cook your stuff off, which it did. I was lucky that the 2 tire stop played out the way it did. Kept Alan behind me and Charles and Aaron and all those guys. So man, just a lot of fun. One natural caution. So big shout out to the field tonight. Small field, but you'll get that summertime short track and that kind of thing.
Yeah, we saw a lot of guys were downshifting into the corner, and a lot of the guys when they would shift down, they were getting super loose. So, how does this track, differ from some of the other bigger tracks that we go to, even some of the shorter tracks where you're not really shifting? How does that side of things in the trucks, kind of differ from other ones? And then, how did the truck handle in the long run if you were still shifting and spiking the RPMs going down in the corner?
I was shifting the entire run, all the runs going into 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Never. Oh well, I tried it a couple times, downshift for entry to get it to rotate, and about busted my ass a couple times. So decided that probably wasn't the best course of action for me. Um, yeah, as far as the overall build of the setup and how it translates over, man, I don't know. I've heard a lot of things about this new update that's come out and how they changed a lot of the aero package for the trucks. Uh, you still got the little arrow tight behind people here, and then it would snap loose, just kind of like normal it would on a short track. Just didn't have a lot of downforce. What if you were falling right in somebody's tracks? I don't know how much it'll translate over. There's a lot of tracks that you don't shift at. This is one of the few. So uh, it'll be interesting going forward the rest of the season. Jonathan's running away with it this season, and he's doing great. Uh, shout out to him and shout out to everybody over here. We're just having a good time with it. At least I am. I'm always having fun.
We had a good run for your number 13 team tonight. As always, who do you have to thank?
Yeah, first and foremost, want to thank my wonderful wife for letting me hop on here and hang out with all you losers for the evening, and I just have a good time with it. Kinder Farm and Ranch Ratchet Speed Shop, been with me since day one. Absolutely love having them around. Big Frig and Cross 5 cattle coolers. If you want to keep your stuff hot and keep your stuff cold for cheaper and longer than anybody else, make sure you check out Big Frig and Cross 5 cattle coolers at bigfrig.com. Ray Page and Andy over at Wolfpack Racing, great guys in the industry to know. Great guys. All my teammates, Poman Motorsports. Aaron, not only head honcho of the league, but runs Poman Motorsports, and does a good job with it. We're always cutting up, having a good time. But we're competing. We're out there. We're knocking out top fives pretty regularly. So shout out to everybody over at Poman Motorsports. All my short tracking guys at Velocity. Everybody up at V Speed Racing Network. Y'all put on a heck of a production. Glad to have the crew back in after last week. Uh, Everybody that keeps the lights on over here. Jimmy over at Apex for being the title sponsor for the series. Thank Kyle Roberts Custom Leather, Kinder Farm and Ranch again for I think they do the Wreckage Rewind here. I can't even remember anymore. Just everybody that makes this thing tick, man. It's a lot of fun. This is one of the few nights. If I'm lucky, I get to race Sundays, but pretty much it's Thursdays for me nowadays. So, really good group of guys to just come out and hang out with.
Well, congratulations on your podium, and thank you for your time, man.
Thanks, man.
All right, well, that was Garrett Ginder, your second place
No.
finisher.
Woo.
And here we go. Alan Nash, your third place finish, and he goes, woo, because that was a tough race. And Alan, are you sweating? You got to turn the air on? You got your fan on? What's going on out there? You had to fight hard for this third place finish.
Eddie, I was just telling Cofield, I'm about to turn 50, and the 100 laps wears me out. It's no, that was actually I kind of enjoyed that. It's nice to get on a flat track now and then, and I don't. That's the first time I run this the new package that iRacing's put together on the trucks, but it was really on the nice edge the whole time. There's no time you ever just set the wheel and gas it. You're working the wheel all the way through the corner into the straightaway. It's kind of fun. Cofield was comparing this car, the truck now, to maybe a lower powered Gen 4. But anyways, good race.
Yeah, I mean, you started third, you finished third. There are a lot of guys, like goers and guys passing you, and you would pass them back, and you had guys out in front of you that for a couple laps, and they'd come back. You were able to get back by them, and you really had to hold off a hard charging Charles Stevens at the end. But what did that 27 truck need to maybe keep up with Garrett Kinder, Jonathan Cofield? What were you missing, you think, tonight?
Well, I really needed Michael Kostick behind the wheel, and that would have fixed our problem, I think. But no, actually, I don't know. It felt good the whole time, and when we had that last caution and everybody behind us pitted, I thought we were going to get smoked. But everything kind of all equalized on the next round of pit stops, and actually, I feel real good. I got beat by two guys I know are better drivers, so I'll take it. And but I enjoyed it. Good time.
All right. Well, man, congratulations on that third place finish. Pretty solid race for you. And man, who you got to thank? Any sponsor shout outs?
Well, I want to thank my buddies at Poman and Low Cash Motorsports. I want to thank you and you up in the booth. I always enjoy coming back and listening to the broadcast. And thanks to Aaron for giving us this great place to race. I wish more people come out and race these short tracks with us, but I don't know what's going on. But we'll be back to full field next week, I bet. I'm filibustering looking for the sponsor readout. There it is. No, that's the logos. Oh, here we go. I got to thank Chuck Feltz, my buddy in Poe Man of Poe Award, and I always enjoy the Kinder Farmer Ranch record replays. It's a logo from Kinder, and of course Jimmy at Apex Sim Racing for making all this possible.
There you have it. Third place finisher, Alan Nash. And that does it for the interviews tonight. As well, we're gonna call it a do. I don't even. What am I saying? That don't even make sense. I'm gonna call it a do. How about we bid it a do? I don't even know. Let's just don't. Let's just a don't. And hey, Gateway just got it all thrown for a loop. What a terrible track. We're not gonna come back here anymore. I was just so pissed off to hear Alan Nash say it was fun. Just unbelievable. No, it was a good race. Post-race interviews provided by Poe Man Motorsports. Definitely appreciate them. Obviously, they run this show. So, but Shane, tonight was a smaller field, but still some pretty good racing. I don't know what's your takeaway from tonight.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting. You know, it was flat track, smaller field. You know, we had the one natural caution, and we had the one stage. Both of those were around the same time, so got to see a really long run, some differing strategies. Definitely a hard track to tame. You know, rough track. If you're not having a good night, this is not where you want to have it. It is a rough time when you're just riding around in the back. So, very loose. You know, these guys, they had to adjust to that setup last minute. So, they can rest easy knowing that in 2 weeks we go to Nashville, which is going to be, still a hard track, but it's a lot faster, a lot bigger. So, should be a bigger field for that race, and that'll put on a show for sure. Nashville is one of my favorite tracks. So. Definitely be interesting to see how that works out, but they got a week off to enjoy it, and then we'll go to Nashville.
Well, could not have said it better myself. Well, I want to thank our sponsor, Apex Sim Racing and Apex Sim Racing Custom Gear, ApexSimRacing.com. Go check them out. Definitely appreciate them. I want to appreciate Chuck Pegley, Feltz, Low Cash Motorsports, Poe Man Motorsports, Kinder Farm Ranch for the Record to Rewind, and Shane White for jumping into the booth with us tonight. You're watching the Apex Sim Racing Custom Gear E-Series Showdown. Good Lord, it's longer than the Worldwide Technology Gateway St. Louis Raceway Park Motorsports, but we definitely appreciate all that these drivers have done, all that Aaron and the admin team do here to put on such a great family atmosphere. It's a lot of fun, and I hope y'all enjoyed the broadcast here over at B-Speed. But we'll see y'all next week. We'll skip next week. We'll be back in 2 weeks for Nashville. Just a dumb track. God, I hate Nashville. So maybe I won't be here. I don't know. But no, y'all have a great night. We'll see y'all later. Y'all be good.